Welcome everyone to Class 6 of the Chicago Area Homeopathy Study Group. Today we are going to be taking the live case of a patient. This is Ramsey, and he's got a few different chronic problems, including anxiety, depression, different aches and pains, pain in his right hip, in his back, a little bit in his elbow, some sleep loss of lack of energy, fatigue. So we're going to be spending the next 2 to 3 hours interviewing Ramsey and getting all the details, all the information that we need to then analyze the case and make a prescription. So I treated Ramsey a few years ago and helped him with some of these musculoskeletal problems with chiropractic, but a lot of them got better, weren't necessarily cured, so that's why we're going to be getting into homeopathy tonight. So thanks for coming, appreciate it. And so just to go over the hip pain specifically, I know we talked a little bit about this before. Do you recall when it first started? Was there a moment?
No, probably 5 to 6 years ago.
Was it
not a particular injury, I would say?
Yeah, was it gradual, just kind of a gradual thing, or?
Yes.
There was nothing going on in your life that you can think of that was especially stressful, either physically or emotionally, or anything different?
I was doing karate then, so there was no stress, I guess.
Did it start after you started doing the karate? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay.
It was during that time.
Okay. And that was a new thing for you, the karate?
I'd been doing about 3 years then.
Mm-hmm. Were been doing it about 3 years before it started?
Yes.
Okay. Were you doing more of it at that point, or?
Actually, I had taken a break from it and then gone back to it. And probably for about 6-8 months, and I think that's when it started.
Okay. So now, how often do you have the hip pain?
Now I get it more, kind of comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
Running is another thing. If I do, it'll exacerbate the pain. So I tend to avoid things with impact on them.
Mm-hmm.
But occasionally if I do a lot of walking or short running, maybe the weather, when it's wetter out, I'll kind of feel that pain.
Okay, so we'll get into more of the factors that make the pain better or worse, but right now you're saying you feel that it's kind of intermittent, it comes and goes.
Yeah, it's a low level pain, so I can feel it right now where it is. It's just at times it'll get to the point where it hurts.
Where it flares up. So it's just a relatively constant low level of pain?
Yes.
And then it flares up depending on what you're doing?
Correct.
Okay. And can you stand up and show me exactly where you feel it?
Here, in the...
Okay, so that's right.
It kind of feels like it's in the joint, more toward the back.
Okay. Okay. And what does the pain feel like?
Feels like there's something between, in the joint there.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got it, I thought I was getting a bad hip, and I went to the doctor and then rotated around, and there's not any pain when he does that, so it was probably static.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But can you tell me more of the specific sensation of the pain?
It's a very small pain, feels like a nerve pinching.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Between the bone there.
Would you say it's like achy or dull or throbbing or sharp. Or stabbing or sharp pain?
It's a sharp, small pain.
Okay.
But it seems it's in between. It feels like it's in between the bone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you were saying it feels worse, worse from running,
Yes.
and worse if you walk a lot. Like, how much walking do you have to do before it would actually make it worse?
20 minutes maybe, or depending on the day, if I'm doing a lot of walking one place, walking another, shopping, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you said worse from if it's wet out?
Yes.
Wet weather? Mhm. So, does it make a difference if it's raining or a storm or before or during the rain? Or?
Not so much. I haven't noticed it, just that you know, sometimes if it's wet out, I'll feel the pain.
Okay. And would it make a difference if it's cold and wet or warm? Like if it rains in the summer versus the winter, it's the same thing?
I don't think so. I think I had it more this summer, and the last couple months it's calmed down a bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How big a factor is that? Does it get a little worse if it's wet or a lot?
No, I think it's a smaller factor.
Okay. What other factors seem to affect it, make it better or worse?
Those are the only two I'm aware of. Sometimes I'll get pain and wonder why, because I didn't go to the gym, didn't walk a lot, so didn't run.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, okay. What about postures or positions or activities?
Not really. I think nothing I can think of.
Is there a difference between sitting, standing, walking, lying?
Lying kind of feels like it takes the pressure off of it.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes I'll lie flat if it's bothering me, and that seems to alleviate some of the pain.
Any particular position better than the others?
No, usually just sitting. Or laying flat sometimes helps.
Mm-hmm. Lying flat, so on your back, on your stomach, on your side.
Yeah.
Is lying on your back better than on your side or your stomach? Does it make a difference?
Yes.
And would lying on your stomach or your side actually make it worse, or is it just that the back is better than?
I think the back is more relaxing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you said sitting before. Were you just misspeaking, or did you mean sitting also relieves it, or?
But sitting, relieves it. If it's bothering me and I sit and read or watch TV for a while, sometimes it calms down a bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the lying will make it is a bigger factor that it'll be, if it was hurting, would it be the lying would make it even more better than the sitting, or?
Yeah, I think so.
And what about just standing?
As far as what?
Would that make it any better or worse?
It makes it worse if I have to stand sometimes, for long periods of time, an hour, 2 hours. Then I do feel it.
Okay. What about, is there a time of day or night where it's, regardless of what your activities would be, that it's noticeably better or worse?
Not really. I'd say in the afternoon, evening. Not so much first thing in the morning.
Okay. Around what time? What range of kind of general time?
Usually in the afternoon is when it'll start.
Okay. Around
2-ish.
And how does it then get better later, or does it just get worse as the day goes on at that point?
It kind of comes and goes. So sometimes it'll get worse for a while, hours, maybe a day or two, where it feels like it's swollen really,
Mhm.
and then it'll kind of calm down slowly.
Mhm. So usually, would it just be like as likely to start getting worse around 3 or 4 as 2, or is 2 definitely a set thing, or just?
Not really. I mean, it's usually after that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So somewhere between 2 and 4, or 2 and 5,
Yeah.
or? No,
Usually 2 and 5.
somewhere between 2 and 5, it starts getting worse, and it
Yeah.
will pretty much keep getting worse unless you lie down and do something to relieve it at that point.
It kind of, I mean, there's not much to do to relieve it, so
Mhm.
if it starts to happen, I don't really have ways to undo it.
Yeah.
It's gonna do what it's gonna do, and it's one of those things I don't really feel like I have control over
Mhm.
how it's gonna go.
Okay. Does it make a difference if it's, you talk about wet weather, if it's hot versus cold, would that affect it?
Not that I haven't noticed.
Okay. And you said sitting could make it slightly better. If you're sitting for a long time, is there a point at which it would actually make it worse, or?
No, sometimes I'll feel it when I, for the most part, work at a desk at a computer, so sometimes during the day I will kind of feel it getting sore.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more comes and goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If you've been sitting for a long time and you get up to walk around, the act of getting up out of the chair, or those first few steps, are those especially, good or bad, or different?
No different.
And getting up out of bed in the morning, that's not a problem, you said?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Anything else you can think of about the hip at all? Any factors at all that seem to make it better or worse?
Sometimes I'll do stretches. That seems to alleviate the pain a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it though.